Hey interwebs, moralgamer here. Alright, I wanted to get off a quick review about Thor Ragnarok. I know everyone's done Thor Ragnarok already, so I'll just throw my 2 cents into the mix. Now, this is going to be spoiler free at first. I will warn you when the spoilers come. But, yeah, let's start off. So, Thor Ragnarok basically it starts out with Thor killing Surtur. I'm only saying this because this is the very beginning of the whole movie. That's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. They had them fighting that huge beast, at the beginning. This is kind of how they opened up the movie, just to kind of get you going, right? So the thing is that Thor defeats Surtur, fire god or something like that. And after defeating Surtur, he basically stores the helmet, goes back, and finds out that Odin's missing. Okay, he finds out Odin's missing. So he goes to look for him. And through the whole course, he finds out that he's got a sister named Hela. If you know your Norse mythology, Hela, the goddess of death, goddess of the underworld. Although I thought Hela was supposed to be the daughter of Loki. My Norse mythology is a little jumbled because I haven't studied as much, but I know that, Marvel turned a lot on its side, and at the same point in time, they've done some stuff, and it's just like, okay, whatever, Stanley, we'll just go with it, we'll buy it, right? Because that's what people do. But with Hela returning, she basically is bringing about Ragnarok, the destruction of Asgard, and so, um, so at this point in time, take this out here. At this point in time, Thor basically ends up trying to prevent her from getting into Asgard after finding out where Odin is, and he essentially ends up on I forget the planet's name offhand, but it's the same planet from Planet Hulk, and he ends up as a gladiator in the arena. Now, as you know in the previews and everything, Thor ends up fighting the Hulk. That is hands down the best and worst part of the movie. It's the best part because it's a kind of epic fight, but it's the worst part because we've seen Thor and the Hulk beat the crap out of each other before. This just felt like another rivalry. It honestly, to me, it didn't feel like anything special. So I was a little disappointed with that. So you get that beatdown, Thor versus the Hulk, as promised in the trailers. You got Jeff Goldblum playing playing the ruler of the world, and is it Sakar? I want to say is anyway. So that's the basic from the trailers setup and everything that you'll get. But then going into a little deeper, you get Korg and Meat. That's all you're getting from the Planet Hulk series. Now, since this is taking place on the same planet as Planet Hulk, I'm expecting a lot more for characters, but even then, I'm not a fan of Korg or Meat. Meat, if you watch the animated Planet Hulk, had a lot more character development, where he went from this this character who was just like weak and insecure and whatnot, didn't really want to fight, to at the end he ends up pretty much giving, I think he ends up giving his life. I don't remember for sure. I know he at least gets his arm chopped off. Ooh, spoiler about Planet Hulk. Not that this is the movie, or you're gonna watch a movie that's like what, 8 years old now, maybe 10. But Meat basically he's a good character. He brings a dynamic to it. And then there's Korg. Man, Korg sounds kind of like the Geico Gecko. Maybe a different little accent, but he's like, well, maybe we should be doing this here. Oh no. Maybe you could get a hammer and bash him in. Oh no. I mean, I can't get over the voice. I mean, get like Kevin Michael Richardson or someone with that deep voice that can do Korg. That would have made sense to me. Okay, I don't want to drill in too much on Korg, but that grated on me throughout the movie. So I'm getting out of order here, but movie kicks off. Thor is actually, he's trying to stop Hela, falls out of the Rainbow Bridge, and the Bifrost, excuse me, ends up on planet Sakar, ends up being captured and sent into the realm as a gladiator. Excuse me. The person he's captured by has a history that I'm not going to spoil in this section here. But when you find out the history, her history basically, it actually brings an interesting dynamic. Kind of wondering how it's gonna play into later parts of the movie. But what's kind of funny in a note maybe is this isn't really spoiling much, but right when she arrives, she's drunk off her keister, and she falls off the plank, and it's like something out of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is definitely meant to be lighthearted and humorous. I found that amusing. But it really does set up the character. I mean, someone like that, usually in a movie, if someone's drinking a lot heavily, it's they have no future. They're a person who's given up on life, and that's very well conveyed. So flash forward here, fast forward. When you get to the part where Hulk fights Thor, the fight ends abruptly. It's like the fight stopped before it gets good, and I don't know why they did that. It's like they didn't want to answer the question for fanboys or something like that. Who could beat who, Hulk or Thor? So there's that was frustrating me because I'm like, okay, what? Let the fight play out. Come on. So Thor basically escapes. Thor basically heads back to Asgard. Thor has to fight Hela. I mean, that's the movie in a nutshell. There's not a whole lot of touch points that I can really give without giving you spoilers. So Thor himself is okay. I mean, Thor's okay in this movie. It's not like he has as much character growth as like in say Thor or Dark World. It's more like Thor is he's not quite the Betty. The perfect character like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. He's not like the perfect character who things happen to. He does have a little bit of character development, but it seems more like Thor was reacting to everything going on around him, rather than actually growing through it. So I was a little disappointed in that. Hulk is just there. He's just there, and it's kind of like they try to do some. I can't spoil this one here, not yet, but they try to do this part where Hulk has this small amount of growth, and he's trying to figure out, what his role in everything is, and that maybe got 5 total minutes of screen time at most out of 2.5 hours. 5 total minutes, maybe. So that was just. I find myself, the more I think about the movie, the more I was just disappointed. And you should take the whole Marvel universe and make it a TV miniseries. Okay? We'll start with Captain America, the first Avenger. Then we'll do Iron Man. Then we'll do, and you just kind of go down the line, set up the Marvel Cinematic Universe that way. And hey, we could have like 3 weeks at this point, maybe, of movies doing one a night. It'd be like the old TV miniseries, like it was back in the day. I just, you could tell throughout the movie that they're trying to set up for something else, because Hulk is conveniently on the planet. They don't tell you how Hulk's on the planet, and they just basically get you to a point where it's like, okay, we've got Hulk, we've got Thor, we're trying to stop Ragnarok. Whatever. The visual effects and whatnot were good enough. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? I saw it in 3D. And I saw it in 3D. I'm a little disappointed some points with 3D, though, because I didn't do as well. I haven't seen it this way in other 3D movies, but around the edges, things got a little blurrier. I don't know if that was intentional or whatnot. Maybe it's just my not noticing. But people and things that were happening around the center character were getting blurry. And now, I know the natural eye. when you focus on something, you're going to have a certain field of depth. That's about it, and everything else is a slight blur to it. But in movies, it's not generally the way it happens. I mean, if you watch Lord of the Rings, if you watch Chronicles of Narnia, you watch any epic movies. Okay, I'm trying to think of things that are more recent that are epic like this, but not everything blurs. And it's like if it wasn't the main character, everything else was just out of focus. And that really bugged me about seeing it in 3D. I walked out of the theater. Was it worth the price of admission? No, actually, I don't think Thor was worth the price of admission. I don't think it was. The story from beginning. Oh, there was even a Hulk fight at the end. Okay, I'm not gonna say at this point what it was, but Hulk fights one of Hela's minions, and when Hulk's fighting this minion, it's like the good parts of the fight were set on the cutting room floor, and that's it. And Hulk defeated the minion in a way that I felt was a cop-out. I mean, for what Hulk is, and I'm more of a Hulk fan than I'm a Thor fan. I never really liked Thor. Okay? I never really liked Thor. Marvel Cinematic Universe got me to say, he's okay. I mean, I've seen them all, but Thor's not... If I'm stranded on an island and I can only have Hulk, Thor, or any one of the Avengers, it's always going to be Hulk. That's the way it is. Just give me the Hulk comic books. That's what I'll pass my time reading. So yeah, Hulk's fight against this minion was just disappointing because, Hulk wins, but the way he wins is kind of a cop-out. I really would have loved to see more in that battle. So, yeah, that's Hulk. Hulk. Wow. Thor Ragnarok. I hope they do Planet Hulk because I would like to see more about that. But even then, I don't know that you could do a Planet Hulk and really do a whole lot more because Hulk's there. He becomes the champion, and in the Planet Hulk thing, he becomes ruler of Sakar. He becomes ruler of that world, and then Hulk basically, when it gets destroyed, and this is in the comics and stuff, he comes back to Earth with a vengeance. So, I'm kind of waiting at this point to see if they do something like that. I heard Planet Hulk, but after seeing this, I'm not sure that I want to see that as much, unless it's going to focus more on Hulk attacking Earth. But we'll see. We'll see. This ends, well, wait, let me give you my final on it, but final for Thor Ragnarok, I'll give it a thumbs down, sadly. I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down. I'd be neutral, but if you actually had to press me, I'd say okay, and you pressed me and said, okay, do I see it in the theater or no? I would say no. I would say wait. I mean, if you're going to see it in 3D, yeah, it's got a lot of cool visual effects. That's really, at this point, I only go to theaters to see stuff in 3D, because to have a decent 3D surround sound and everything set up, I don't. And I don't think they do 3D DVDs anymore. They did for a while, and those were really cool. But I don't think they do them anymore like that now. I think now it's just 4K digital, ultra high D. At least I haven't seen anything at Best Buy or anything that's a 4K, a 3D movie. So again, Hulk. Hulk. You know where my focus was. Thor Ragnarok. I would say thumbs down. I'd say wait for it on Blu-ray. I would not recommend. Going to see this one in the theaters. If you're just going to see a 2D, wait for it. If you're going to see it in 3D, yeah, I give it a grander. It's an action-packed ride. You're going to have fun watching it, but it's kind of like eating Chinese. You'll only be hungry in an hour, It's one of those things where the end of it was just unsatisfying. So this is where I'm gonna kind of get into spoilers here at this point. If you don't want any spoilers, end transmission. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Support links below. Help us out. All the good stuff, right? So yeah, this is where spoilers come in. I'm gonna give you another few seconds if you're not sure about spoilers, whether you want to see them or not. This is where I go into more detail about the movie, so I'm giving you fair warning here before I go into the spoilers. Okay? And spoilers are going to start in 3, 2, wait, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, spoil it! Alright. So, Thor defeats Surtur in the very beginning. Okay. After that, though, he finds out that Odin is dying. Loki tricked him and replaced him in Asgard. So it's Loki in Asgard, basically fooling everyone and making great Loki's worth in battle of Asgard and whatever. So basically at that point in time, I forgot the Surtur fight. They start off with Thor captured. He's dangling from this chain, and they try to make humor out of him spinning in the chain. He's like, "Oh, I'm totally not spinning in this thing. I'm just waiting." Well, look, I'll come around. You can keep explaining in a moment. I want to look you in the face. And it is, oh my gosh. I understand what you're going for, but I felt the joke fell flat. It wasn't that funny to me. So, Thor beats Surtur. Okay, whatever. Takes his helmet back to the vault. Now, you know when he takes it back to the vault that this is going to be one of those things that's going to come up later in some way, shape, or form. You know it. It's very obvious. So then, after Thor finds out Loki's replaced Odin, takes Loki to see Odin. This is where Doctor Strange comes in. If you've watched Doctor Strange, at the end, you see him bargaining with Thor and Loki, saying basically, "Listen, you guys find out where Odin is. You leave. You don't come back, right?" And they're both like, "Yes." So that's where this scene plays in. Because Doctor Strange set up Thor Ragnarok in a slight way. Benedict Cumberbatch gets his cameo in this movie. So after they go in and they basically have their little chat with Doctor Strange, they find out that he's in Norway. Go figure! Norse gods in Norway? Who would have guessed? And then Odin dies. And with the death of Odin, at this point, Hela's free to come back. Thor fights Hela, Mjolnir gets crushed, and Loki makes the mistake of opening up the Bifrost, and so they end up transporting through the Bifrost, fighting Hela in the Bifrost. That was kind of cool. That was actually kind of a cool scene, because you got them trying to dodge and everything, and as Loki falls out, gets thrown out of the Bifrost by one of Hela's attacks, and then Thor does. That's basically how they end up in different areas. And then you meet Karl Urban, which Scourge was his name? He was a very forgettable character that they tried to make something of. But Scourge basically is the gatekeeper, and he teams up with Hela, and he's kind of throughout the movie this reluctant villain. He doesn't really want to do the uber nasty things that she wants to do, but hey, it's that or he loses his life. And if she's goddess of the dead, why isn't she a necromancer? That's one thing that I probably could have said in the spoiler-free stuff, but that's bothered me. Why isn't she a necromancer? Why you figure someone who is ruler of the dead, goddess of the dead. Look at Quan Chi in Mortal Kombat. Everyone joins my minions. I mean, he basically, every time someone dies, he resurrects them and they become a revenant for him, and they follow him into battle. You'd think the goddess of the dead would be able to, after she's killing people, raise them. So that didn't make sense, but they kill the warriors. She kills the Warriors 3 fairly early on. I'm not surprised. Might as well off those guys. They haven't really been a strong part of the movies for a while. Also, where's Sif? I don't remember her being around in this movie at all. Warriors 3 are dead. Sif's still around somewhere, but we don't know where. Or did she die in another movie and I just didn't make note of it? Either way, it basically is the downfall of Asgard. And she resurrects her army, and she's unstoppable. She wiped out the armies of Asgard by yourself in what is, again, another homage to 300. Let's do the fight, slow, fight, slow, fight, slow. Okay, whatever. People love that too much. I don't know what the song is, but it's the one that goes, and they play that one like 3 times in the movie, and it got annoying. And they play it like with every time Hell is fighting. But anyway, I best remember it from Shrek, where Snow White sends all the animals like after the guards, and it turns from being cute and innocent to horror. So, but at any rate, though, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering to myself, okay, is she going to raise any dead? Is she gonna just everything's dead? Apparently, she needs the flame of the eternal flame to raise the dead. So she raises her army. Doesn't necromancer or anything, which like I said, I'm disappointed because that's the norm. But she raises her army and then takes her army into battle. She even raises this dire wolf. I mean, this thing is like, it's just freaking huge. Beautiful wolf, though. I mean, and I wasn't as scared of it as I was like, oh man, that thing looks awesome. Well groomed. That looks pretty cool. Why can't they put better CG animals in movies? So yeah, that thing looks sweet. It reminded me of the Nothing. Not the Nothing. Gamorreek, is it? The Servant of the Nothing from Neverending Story is what it reminded me of, except a lot better because that was just a puppet. So after she raises her armies, then it goes to Thor. Thor basically somehow gets to fight the champion. But okay, let me back up a little bit. Thor falls on planet Sarg, and from planet Sarg he basically ends up in a trash heap, just outside of Detroit. And he's collected by this one scavenger or whatever, who, wow, he had balanced him. I'm trying to remember his name. The Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum, is just like, you bring me all the best combatants, and so she collects Thor. She puts this little chip on his neck that basically shocks him when he gets out of order. He's the god of thunder. In the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, he gets hit by electricity and takes it. No damage, no push, nothing. And in this, he's like, oh. I'm like, okay, come on, guys, come on. You're really going to tell me that the god of thunder can be hurt by thunder? I guess if you're going by Mortal Kombat rules, I mean, it's kind of like, there's Justice League Unlimited. There's this part where Aquaman is fighting this character who can basically turn themselves into water, and they try to drown him, and he goes, "I'm king of the sea, boy," and he beast slaps him, just knocks him to the ground with the slap. It's like, oh man. But you'd figure that it'd be something where like he just can't really be hurt by electricity because he's god of thunder. Whatever. So after being processed in what can only be described as Willy Wonka's tunnel of terror or whatever it was, the people are rowing, the boat's not slowing. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. It was just kind of, I just sat there in the theater like, huh? What the heck? When he was processed in. And basically he meets Jeff Goldblum, and Jeff Goldblum's like, okay, you haven't proven yourself, but hey, we'll just throw you against the champion. And Loki'd been there, by the way, because he fell out of Bifrost earlier, and time works different on that planet. He'd been there for a while. He'd been there for a few weeks or something like that, and he was in the good graces of the Grandmaster, who, for some reason, thinks he's a good DJ, and I don't know. He's always into his weird techno dance parties. It was kind of forced. But I didn't like the Grandmaster. He was just weird. The movie was just a ball of weird at this point. I mean, I was kind of waiting for them to get either rule the planet or get onto Asgard. I said earlier in this about Korg. Korg was an interesting enough character at first, but I just couldn't handle his voice, and he didn't seem like the Korg from the movie, the animated movie for Planet Hulk. Korg from Planet Hulk. There's a lot of characters that were missing. They just had Meek and Korg. I forget her name, but she was leader of the Resistance. There was a few other Resistance fighters and whatnot. And Korg's just like, oh, we could start a revolution. Oh, no. He just non-committal. At any rate, though, Thor fights Hulk, and before Thor can beat the crap out of Hulk, Grandmaster shocks him. Thor uses lightning attacks without Mjolnir, and he gets shocked, and he's down. It's like, again, you just wielded lightning, and a little shock to the neck is going to take you down? Shouldn't you be impervious to that? Man, it's like Livewire. You know, what happens if she's, shocked with lightning? Doesn't it make her stronger? Is Mr. Freeze or Bobby Drake, are they afraid of ice? Oh, any rate. So Thor finds out that the scavenger that got him was actually a Valkyrie. Okay, cool. They try to mix that in, try to guilt her a little bit, but apparently she plays with the Hulk, and the Hulk in Hulk form is stupid and like a little puppy. Oh my gosh, when they bring back that stupid sun's going down, big guy. I hated that. So at some point, the Hulk turns back into Bruce Banner, and this becomes one of the most forced, stupid. Why the heck did you do this? But they have Thor trying to escape with Bruce Banner through the market. Mark Ruffalo had to put some pants on for once. Oh my gosh. It just seemed pointless, them in the marketplace. Yes, they're being hunted. Yes, everyone's looking for the champion. But it's revealed that if he turns back into a Hulk, he's been the Hulk for 2 years. But there's a possibility that he might stay the Hulk instead of being Bruce Banner ever again. So he's got a decision to make, and they end up escaping. With the help of the Valkyrie. I don't remember her name. She was an important character to the movie, but she wasn't very memorable, and that's kind of the issue. So they end up escaping with her help, and I walked away from this movie really wondering if it was worth it. Because by the time they get back to Asgard, it's just all about, and I'm not telling you everything, even though this is a spoiler review. But Heimdall plays a very big part in some of this. So I'm not gonna spoil that sub arc, because that was pretty cool. But they get back to Asgard, and they're in the Grandmaster's ship, which they stole, and essentially they're in the Grandmaster's ship. They're back in Asgard. They're trying to fight Hela, and Thor fights her one-on-one, being the God of Thunder. He makes a play to basically, at this point he decides, all right, screw it. If I don't destroy Asgard, because Hela draws power from Asgard, then what's going to happen is that she's going to get more powerful, and we're going to lose. If I destroy Asgard, we lose. But we're not all dead. So, Thor, Loki, Valkyrie Chick, and Banner all make an offensive against Hela. They evacuate Asgard, as many people as they can, trying to get them onto a lifeboat, more or less, and that's pretty much the end. Now, the thing that gets me about the end is, oh, by the way, they use Serta to destroy Asgard at the end. So the guy that Thor was trying to stop from destroying Asgard, he's just like, screw it. Here you go. I very much at this point was I very much at this point I understand the logic behind it, but they kind of use the American rhetoric, or I forget who it was. Asgard is not a place. It's a people. It's an ideal. It's like whatever. So at this point, when you hear that, you already know what's going to happen. But I just they basically started off with Thor trying to prevent Surtur from destroying Asgard. Then they say, okay, Surtur, just do your thing. What does Surtur get out of destroying Asgard? I don't get it, but okay. The fight I was talking about earlier, I didn't want to spoil it, but so Hela has that beautiful wolf creature, right? Hulk fights this thing. And even though it's much larger than Hulk, Hulk has taken on a lot of beasts that are even bigger, even stronger than him at first. But he always manages to get angry enough to just beat the living crap out of them. And this fight goes through and basically has him fighting the wolf, but it starts off kind of cool, but then they end up in the water around the Rainbow Bridge, and I thought that water would be deeper, but I guess it's not. So why do people use the Rainbow Bridge when you could just like walk in the water or something? I don't know. But so basically Hulk fights it, and at the end of it, he throws it off the edge of Asgard. Now I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's a cop-out. I wanted to see Hulk pummel this thing into the ground. That's what I was hoping. And, okay, maybe that fight was supposed to go on longer. I mean, it feels like the fight was less than 2 minutes. And when you're watching the Hulk movies and stuff like that, or even Age of Ultron and stuff like that, when Hulk's doing his thing and he's just going nuts, those fights are usually longer, they're more spectacular. This one was very played down. I mean, it wasn't a very high action fight. The Thor Hulk match was a lot better than this. So I was vastly disappointed with that. I left the theater thinking it was okay. I mean, it really was okay. Yes. It really was just an okay movie. It could have been a lot better if they... It could have been a lot better. I hate to say this, but this is one of those cases where it really should have been like Harry Potter, 2 movies. Or not a Hobbit, 3 movies, but like 2 movies. The part where he's on Sakaar, there's a lot of things that could have happened, a lot more depth that you could have put into that. The parts where he's on Asgard, there could have been a lot more detail, a lot more building and whatnot. The Asgard fights basically seemed like they were just... It was a race to the finish. I didn't like that. I didn't really like that. Overall, I mean, I had issues with Thor Ragnarok. It could have been a lot better movie than it was. But what it ended up being was just another Avengers movie. TV miniseries. I don't like movies to be broken up, but at that 2.5 hour running point, you really could split it to 2 hour-and-a-half movies, tack on the additional 30 minutes, and say, boom. I don't like doing the King Kong 3-hour marathons, but they're probably going to do Thor Extended Edition or something like that at some point. Fill in some of the other stuff that's left on the cutting room floor. I hope so, because there's more I would have liked to see. There's more that was missing from the plot that was just really bad. So, final complaint. Leave the horns on. Hela looks so much cooler with the horns. When she had to do it for FaceTime so Kate Blanchett could have a beautiful face all over the screen. No, leave the freaking mask and the horns on. That is Hela. Hela never took the helmet off. Hela never took it off. She always had the horns and everything. That's what looked cool about her. Oh, but I want more FaceTime. Thanks. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Topher Grace, for the whole FaceTime stuff. If you would have just been a good little Venom and kept the Venom mask on, I know it was mostly CGI, that would have been awesome. But now everyone in the Marvel Universe is like, oh, I need to come out of character so you can see my lovely face. Ugh. Although Hela looked like she might be a boss character in some video game, though. I mean, with the way she whipped out swords. This is Thor Ragnarok. This is all of my thoughts. I know this is lengthy, but there's a lot to say on it. Would I recommend the movie? Wait for it on Blu-ray. That's what I would say at this point. It's a better rental. I can't say I would pay for it. Again, I can't say I would really want to own this one. It's good. Movies now are throwaways, and this is kind of the problem I'm having here. Hang on, let me come down a little bit. Movies now are throwaways. You basically get a movie, you can watch it once. That's about it. That's about it. I wish that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the earlier ones, Iron Man, very solid. I can watch that again and again. Hulk, Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton we're talking. I have watched that multiple times. Love it. Avengers, not so much. And as the Marvel Cinematic Universe keeps progressing, the movies are getting to a point where I can't sit through them. They're just not that fun to watch. They're great the first time, but they lose their charm. Wonder Woman, not Marvel, but still a great movie that I can watch multiple times and have fun watching it. Age of Ultron, Civil War, Thor, not really. But that's my complaint with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At least they're doing better in their comics, but that's another story for another time. Alright, Moral Gamer, like, subscribe, comment, share, support link below, helps us out. And this has been Thor Ragnarok. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Madden Project tonight.